Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. Let's talk about local asset packages. Local asset packages are something that were added to GameMaker Studio 2 a few versions ago, but never really received much attention, at least I don't think. They're something that people use often when creating GML extensions or other kinds of extensions. There's a similar but slightly older system that is used for the GameMaker Marketplace, which is how you would post assets on the GameMaker Marketplace. To make a long story short, if you want to save assets for later and either use them in another project later, or if you want to make them available for general use on something like the Marketplace or on itch.io or something like that, you can put assets, code, sprites, objects, whatever, in a local asset package, and you can distribute them however you want. In my case, I like doing a lot of things with 3D stuff. As you can see, I'm not going to make 3D stuff relevant to this video. This is just what I have on hand. Let me make that a little bit bigger. So if, for example, I wanted to share the sprites and maybe some of the shaders with someone else on the internet, or with my future self, I could go to Tools up here, Create Local Package, and this would show you a few things. There is a list of files you can include. This will work in GameMaker Studio 2.2 or 2.3, by the way. The only major difference is that in 2.3, the resource tree over here has been overhauled so that you can put any assets in any folder, and they're not restricted to things like the sprites folder or the scripts folder or objects folder or anything like that. I will not be getting into how you can arrange your asset browser in 2.3. Anyway, let's say add some sprites. You can either click Add to include a single sprite asset, the one that is currently selected, or you can hit Add on the entire folder to add all of its contents, or if you're feeling adventurous, Add All will do exactly what you think it does. And same thing for Remove and Remove All. You're all smart people, you know how this works. So let's say I want to share some graphical assets. I will include the font as well as the sprites and shaders. Shaders are a reasonable graphical thing. Let's include the basic 3D stuff shader, which is currently at this point in time just a spotlight, since I removed the other code because it was kind of cluttering things up. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, once you've decided what you want to add, you can go over here to the package details, publisher name. If you're sharing stuff on the marketplace, it's probably more important that you use your marketplace seller name as the publisher name rather than just whatever you want. But if you're just going to create a local asset package for your future use, it's not that big of a deal. Same goes for signing the package. The display name would be something along the lines of what it contains. I'm actually going to call it demo asset package instead, because that's really what it is, instead of something that contains stuff that you'd actually want to use. And the package file name would be like demo asset stuff, whatever you want. If you're versioning stuff, if you're making an extension, you may want to include a version number as well. That's up to you. Once you're done, okay, and it's going to ask you to save the asset package. So in my case, that will be demo asset stuff.yyMPS. I believe if you're using GameMaker Studio 2.2, it will just be YYMP as the file extension. In any case, we can save that, and it will save the asset package, and you can click Open in Explorer when you're done. We're going to open right there. We go. So we've got demo asset stuff.yyMPS alongside all of my other project stuff. The difference between YYZs, which are what you would get if you did export project, and YYMPS is a YYZ is an entire project. Everything is automatically included, and you can't really import it into an existing project very easily, whereas the asset package is more designed so that you can move. If you have a collection of scripts that you use in every single game, for example, you might want to put them in a local asset package and just import them into every game you make. Or a collection of common sprites or programmer art sprites or something like that. In my case, it might be shaders, because I've written a number of shaders that I would use in any game, in most games, in a lot of games. Note that this is not the same as source control. Source control would be for one, backing up your stuff periodically, and two, allowing other people on your team to work with the code that you've written or the sprites that you've drawn or that sort of thing. Whereas these things are designed so that you could send game resources to someone who's working on their own game and they want to use your code or whatever. Or like I said, your future self if you have a bunch of scripts that you think would be useful and you want to include in other games. Anyway, to load them in, and I've mentioned this before when I've talked about things like Scribble, you would just go to import local package. You would find the file that you exported, so in my case that is demo assets dot whatever. It will decompress everything. It will show you something similar. It will show you all of the resources that are in the asset package, and you can choose to either add specific things or just add all. You can choose to specify a new project or the existing project. As you can imagine, if you choose to add them to your current project, these will just everything in here will automatically be added to your resource tree, your asset browser. If they already exist, which they do in here because I just exported them, they'll be overwritten, which is useful if you're using something like Scribble that's being continuously updated. I'm going to import into a new project. Demo asset stuff. Yeah, I'll call that the new project, why not? And you can, once it finishes loading, you can see a new project has been created and all of the things that I've imported are included. So font game, sprite grass, sprite heart, the shader. If you were to open them up, you would see they contain the contents that they had in the project they came from. If you want to get a better look at the heart sprite or the grass sprite or something like that, or the game font should be what, 20 point Calibri? Yeah, something like that. So that's useful. It's not code related, but it's something that I use fairly often when I make an extension of some sort and I throw it on the internet. I make a local asset package out of it. And if you didn't know about those before, you do now, and hopefully you can find some use for them. As you can expect, if you put code in a local asset package and import it into your game, you should take care to ensure that any other code that it might depend on is also included. So if you try to export a player walking script in an asset package, but it depends on some other code that handles, I don't know, for example, player gravity, and that code is not included, you'll get exactly what you expect when you try to run code that depends on something that isn't there, a missing script or something like that. You'll just get an error and the game won't work. Be mindful of that if you're making extensions. In 2.3 in particular, you may find it useful to create a single group and put input everything that is to be included in your asset package in that group, like this. Again, let's make that a little bigger to make it easier to see. Maybe not that big. That's up to you though. So, GameMaker stuff. My name is Michael. I like this sort of thing. I normally make code tutorials, particularly 3D code tutorials, particularly shaders. I try to post 2-ish game dev videos a week. There will definitely be another one this week. This was just a little things you might not know sort of thing. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these being made, there's links to that in all the usual places. Otherwise, no code this week, obviously, because there's, no code was actually written. But I hope you found that useful all the same, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Edward Holt, Indie Punch, Posho Dev, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want your name in the credits and to force me to say them out loud at the end, head over to the Patreon page in the video description and join the fun.